Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the College of Letters and Science session for Aggie Experience Live. Welcome, welcome. We'll get started here in a second. I'm just keeping an eye on the participation list. It's growing, so I think people are rolling in. Yeah, okay. Awesome. So a few housekeeping things before we get started. I want everybody to know we are recording this session, so you can come back and watch it. Admissions will have the link for you. Undergraduate admissions will. We will also link it on our event page. So we will have the recording. Another thing to point out is that we are using the Q&A feature. So if you have questions along the way, feel free to use the Q&A box. That's the most useful way for you to ask your question to make sure that we can answer it, because it stays in the box until we answer it or till we either type an answer or answer it live. So please use the Q&A box if you have questions. We may answer them as we go, but we will definitely save time at the end for your questions. I've also left the chat feature on, and we'll use that if we ask questions of you. So if you have, if we're asking you questions about you, you might want to use the chat to just respond to those. But if you have questions, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A box. Okay, before we dive in, I do have some questions for you to start. I really quickly want to know where everybody is joining us from. So number one, welcome to the College of Letters and Science session at Aggie Experience Live. We're really glad you're here. But we want to know where you're from. We're from all over the place, actually, in the room here. But I'm curious to know where most people are joining us from today. Wow, it looks like you're from all over. So we have a bunch of you, gosh, almost half of you are from the Bay Area, but then a couple of you are from outside of California and even outside of the US. So here's what that looks like. Hopefully you can all see those. So there's that. Cool. We're glad you're all here. Let me ask one other question. And maybe this will change after this session, maybe not. But I'm also curious to know where UC Davis ranks in your choice of schools that you've been admitted to. So for some of you, that may be on the fence. And I appreciate that some of you actually did check the I'm only here by force box in the myth box. Hopefully we'll change your mind on some of those once we get going and get through some of this. But okay, that's great. I'm again super glad you're all here. Hopefully for those of you who are on the fence, we'll push you to the maybe near the top side. Here's what that looks like. So most of you are looking at Davis as a strong contender, and we're thrilled about that. Okay. Now, I want to show you a quick video before I introduce our students. So some of you may have seen this already, but I just want to share this with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Itzal Gamboa.
Hi, my name is Kilvio.
Hi, my name is Alex Silvera. I'm a senior at UC Davis and I'm studying political science.
I'm a fourth-year sociology and communications double major.
I'm a fourth-year math major.
My transition from community college to UC Davis was definitely not an easy one, but definitely one that was worth it.
I thought waking up earlier would be really easy because high school started at 7 a.m., but 7:30 a.m. classes feel like a whole different beast.
It was a little bit hard at first getting here, transitioning to the quarter system from semester system, but once I found my community, found my friends, talked to professors more during office hours, it all just ran smoothly, and now I actually enjoy the quarter system.
The challenges of being a student vary depending on the individual. It's like how much do you want to be involved with and how much can you put on your plate?
Professors do expect a certain amount of rigor coming from you, but there's a huge amount of resources that Davis gives to us. I went to tutoring a lot, I went to office hours a lot, and so I slowly saw my grades improve and my quiz scores improve.
So I've actually had the opportunity to intern with the Sacramento Kings, which was a dream come true. And it was really nice because as a math major, a lot of times people ask you like, what do you do with math? Are you just gonna become a math teacher?
I interned for an assembly member at the Capitol, which is insane to say that I have interned at the Capitol of the state of California. So it was definitely an experience. I learned so much and it helped me grow in my career.
I know colleges and especially UCs are just known for like their competition. They're known for being so much hard work that I didn't expect to have everyone be so friendly here.
The culture and the environment of Davis and the city of Davis in general is just so warm and welcoming. When I stepped on campus the very first time, it was orientation week and everyone here on campus was saying hi, like all the students were waving on their bikes and I was just like, oh my gosh, people weren't lying. This is a really welcoming campus.
You have people coming from all around the world, from all different backgrounds, and everyone really finds common ground and everyone's always happy to talk.
It's been really nice, just a small town, small space to like live in. It's like everyone knows everyone here.
My most memorable moments here at Davis, honestly, are just running through the campus. I love running through the Arboretum, walking through it with friends, having picnics there.
It's trees everywhere, it's calming, it's quiet. And that's what makes Davis special to me, that it just gave me a different kind of environment that I'm able to thrive in.
When I had a hard transition here, my first quarter, it was because of strangers and people that I had barely met that had opened their arms and hearts to me, which is the reason why I'm still here today, is because they have been my advocates, they have been my supporters, and without the community built here at Davis, I don't know how I would have survived without them.
All right. Okay, so you heard from 3 of our ambassadors of letters and science in that video, and now I'm going to bring in 4 more. So I'll ask Khalil and Kabir and Jen Metzley to join me in the room. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to these 4, and they are going to take it away. I'll be back at the end. But before I go, I just want to remind everybody, feel free to use the Q&A to ask questions, to drop your questions in there. If you see questions that you also have that somebody else typed, you can upvote them so that they stay at the top of that list. And so some of us may be working on answering your questions as we go. We may be typing those out. But again, we will save time at the end to answer some of your questions live. Okay? Angie, Metzley, Khalil, Kabir, take it away.
Oh no, what order do we go in? I'll start. Hi everyone, I'm Angie. I'm a 4th-year computer science major minoring in technology management here at UC Davis. I'm originally from Boise, Idaho, out-of-state representation, and I'm so happy to be here. I'll pass it over. I'm gonna go to my right, so Metzley.
Hello, everybody. My name is Metzley Montero. I'm a 3rd-year applied physics major with an emphasis in chemistry. Currently have a language minor in the works. We'll see what happens. I'm from Southern California, from Montclair, California, to be specific. And I'm really excited to be here and answer some of your questions and talk about Davis. I'll pass the mic to Kabir.
Hey everyone, I'm Kabir, he, him, his. I am a junior or 3rd-year double majoring in communication and international relations. I am from New Delhi, India, so that's out of country representation for the 4 of you that were actually out of country. And I'll popcorn it over to Khalil.
Thanks, Kabir. My name's Khalil. I'm a 3rd-year political science, cognitive science double major. I'm trying to figure out my minor, although I've changed my major so many times, who knows how long it'll stay that way. And I'm from Bay Area, specifically South Bay, and I'm really excited to be here with you all. And why don't we jump right into it? Angie, I think we should roll the day in the life video that you did. Angie's one of the best narrators, so I think this will be a good insight into day in the life.
Oh no, I'm turning my camera off for this. Coming to you live on a Sunday evening before week 6 of the quarter. I know it's week 6. Hi, I'm Angie. I'm an ambassador for the College of Letters and Science at UC Davis, representing computer science and technology management. Now, I have a really busy week ahead. Like I said, it's week 6 and I have a lot planned. So I thought I'd take you with me as I navigate this week on this ambassador takeover. It's fine. Everything's fine. Are you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Okay, good. Now, I know it's 11 p.m. Pacific time, but I thought I'd get some coding out of the way. I have this homework assignment due on Wednesday, but I have a lot of interviews on Tuesday, which means I should probably just wrap this up as soon as possible and get this turned in early so I can focus on my interview prep. Just a little background on me. This is my senior year, my 4th year at UC Davis, and you know, I had the lovely opportunity of interning at a software engineering startup in the Bay. You might not have heard of them. It's called Google. That should set me up for a job after I graduate, but the way computer science jobs, software engineering jobs work is you go through this lengthy process of, you know, phone screenings, online assessments, and technical interviews where you're on the phone with someone, they essentially ask you coding problems, and you have to walk them through your thought process and code out a solution for them. And they're very challenging, rigorous, and sometimes fun. Even if you enjoy communicating difficult technological solutions to very complex problems to people, it can be really fun. But most of the time, it's stressful. And that's what I'm gonna go through this week, but it's okay. Enough of that. Let me show you what I do when I have a stressful week like this. So I'm gonna hop over to my Word document that just reveals my main objectives. A lot of times I get really overwhelmed with the number of assignments and just things I need to do. So what I like to do is I like to put all my short-term assignments, goals, and objectives all together, break them down into smaller chunks so that they're less overwhelming. And you have something like this, which is way more doable. Now this is my best friend during COVID. So this is my Google Calendar. You can see I had a really busy weekend and I have a busy week ahead as well. I'm just the kind of person who likes to assign work periods and exercise and all that fun stuff. Oh, you can see all my interviews on Tuesday. But this is my best friend this year, and I see her being my best friend for the rest of my life. She's my BFFL. That's all I can show you for Sunday, but I will keep you updated on what I'm doing throughout the week to stay sane, and I don't know, maybe I'll have a job, maybe I won't, and I'll be sad, which is also okay, because I'll be okay, I know I'll be okay, it's fine. Well, that made me feel super comfortable. Does anyone else, relate to that kind of student life? Kabir, do you want to share a little bit about how you may relate?
Yeah, that was, and I just want to say what a vlogger Angie is. I would totally follow her. I think it can get pretty rough in the sense that if you're handling a lot of things together, it's pretty overbearing, but it's also super fun. And yeah, I really like taking a ton of classes here at Davis. And one of my favorite ones that I think, telling one of my friends about earlier this week was just one of these. I've taken an array of anthropology classes in my junior year, which I never thought I would be taking because I'm not an anthropology major. But Davis can be wild and can kind of lead you in directions that you do not really intend to go to. So yeah, talking about academics, I feel like it's so dynamic as to what you can kind of do here and what paths you can pursue going into just any kind of class, you might end up liking a class that totally doesn't relate to your major or totally just is the most disassociated thing from what you thought you would be doing when you entered school. So yeah, just the schedules that kind of build because of all of this collective just kind of taking all these classes is super interesting and super amazing. I personally totally relate to like Angie's vlog in the sense that I sometimes have Google Calendar is also my best friend. And sometimes when somebody that sends me like an invite to an event, and if it's not on Google Calendar, I'm like, they're probably like living in a prehistoric era. I do not comprehend anything that's not like on a calendar specifically since the pandemic kind of started. Um, and I think it really just helps me in managing not only like my classes and my commitments, but also just my coursework and even time to kind of relax. I'm that one person who will block away like 4 hours on Google Calendar and be like nap so that nobody can schedule anything there. And yeah, and I think one of the most interesting things about just through the last year, which I've done, is like in the middle of a pandemic, I declared my double major. And that's it was all through like exploration that I did, and it was all rudimentary that I never thought I would kind of end up doing a double major. And I declared international relations as my second major last spring. And I know that that was all through like exploration. And I also know that over here within our panelists, Khalil is also a double major. So do you kind of want to talk about how the life of a double major can be? How are you managing your 2 degrees? And what made you kind of want a double major? Because I stumbled upon it. Was yours more intended?
That's a great question. I had a similar route to you. And actually, like my first year, I didn't know if I wanted to double major. So when I came to UC Davis, I didn't even know if I was sure about my first major. I chose political science because I watched Legally Blonde and I thought, oh my goodness, what if I became Elle Woods? And that's how I chose political science. But going through the coursework, I've really learned that, I do really have a passion for that subject. And choosing my double major is something I wanted to do because in the College of Letters and Science, we have so many great interdisciplinary majors. We have over 50 majors in arts, humanities, and social sciences and STEM. And so there's a lot of opportunities. And so I was really struggling to settle down on just one major to double with. But I just recently decided to go with cognitive science just because, it really provided a lot of cognition, linguistics, and psychology classes that I became really interested in. And that's something I'd really recommend is do something that you're passionate about. Don't do something that you think will be good for you, because if you don't enjoy it, the coursework is going to seem like a burden. And I think that kind of ties into managing doing a double major is if you're going to do a double major, make sure you're passionate about the things you're studying, because that will make it so that you are willing to organize your time in a way to take all these classes, because it is a step up in your coursework to pursue 2 majors. But if you're truly passionate about learning all these things and taking all these classes, I found that it personally has been a pleasure. But again, I don't have a lot of knowledge about the STEM side because I am more on the humanities, social sciences side. But I know, Metzli, you're an applied physics major. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as mentioned, I'm applied physics major. For those of you interested in physics, you can go the general physics track or applied physics, which has more tracks. If you guys ever have the chance to explore the UC Davis major website, just type up UC Davis majors. I'm sure you guys have already seen it before when applying, but I would say take the time to explore that page, not just your major, but also other majors, because there's a whole world out there. And for me, I really enjoyed STEM. I enjoyed math and science. And so I honestly had a very difficult time choosing my major. And I guess something that really helped me was, I guess, just declaring a major my freshman year, because I didn't come in undeclared, and just taking classes in my field. And yes, college is challenging, but I think it's important to also understand that, college is a very new experience when you enter in as a freshman or a transfer. And there's a learning curve to a new experience. And so for me, with physics, it was really challenging because I had to change the way I thought, in the sense where high school prepared me for more repetition and memorization, whereas college prepares you essentially for the real world, where you're given a situation and you have to apply knowledge to solve problems. So I guess in regards to physics and STEM, one of my favorite classes was actually an interdisciplinary class. Actually, two of them. One of them was an electronics class, which I did through the College of Engineering or Electrical Engineering. And essentially I was able to, I still have the kit, I was able to have a take-home kit that the professor bought for us. And so we got to fiddle with electronics, and I thought it was really cool. Another class that I thought was really fun was the biology series. The undergrad, it's like the lower division general biology series, because I was contemplating biophysics, but it was a really interesting experience because I saw a question on hands-onness of STEM. If you want hands-on, the biology series, I like stuck my hand in so many aquariums with animals in it. It was really fun. And you work with groups, you meet people, and at the end of the day, you figure out what you enjoy and what you don't. And for me, I guess sticking my hand in like aquarium water was not what I wanted to do. It was still fun regardless. But yeah, I would say if you're worried about what you're studying, or if you're unsure about which department to go in, don't be afraid of like taking a class and exploring, and don't be afraid, as Khalil mentioned at the beginning, of changing your mind many, many times. That's completely normal, and kind of like trying on clothes or trying to find something that fits. You're just gonna have to explore and see what interests you. But so I guess along the lines of another STEM major, Angie, do you have any favorite classes you want to share?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I see there's a question in the chat about how difficult CS courses can be, especially if you've never really touched coding before. And, speaking as a computer science major who came into college with absolutely no programming experience, I definitely was very intimidated to start programming for the first time. And yet, the introductory classes are very enjoyable. They're fairly approachable. The professors are well aware that some of you have very different experiences going in. So one of my favorite classes in computer science was the computer architecture and the operating systems classes. That really helped me understand what I like about computer science. It's the reason why I went into some of the big industry areas. So I'm about to be employed at Microsoft for cloud and AI, and I wouldn't really be there if I didn't know that I was interested in that area of computer science. So a lot of really cool areas and emphases you can go into for computer science, but that's STEM, that's very heavy STEM. As someone who also really enjoys the arts, I took a class called Hip Hop as Poetry, which was really interesting because I really like hip hop and I also really like poetry. So I thought it was interesting that we got to analyze that together. So there's a lot of really cool classes you can take at UC Davis. If not for your job, for your future career, you can take some that are just fun and something that can really lighten the course load for you. Okay, I did a lot of talking, but I'm interested in what Khalil likes taking.
Yeah, I'm way more of a humanities social science person. One of my favorite classes has been, some of my favorite classes have been my constitutional law classes, which have really been in depth and very hands-on. And one thing I like about it is sometimes when you go to college, you think about things like the subject of constitutional law, and you think, how will I ever be smart enough to learn about that? Like, how am I going to do that? But a lot of these classes are really great at introducing you to the subject and then getting you to the level you need to be at, which has been really great. My professor, who I will sing praises about all the time, Professor Verbitsky, is also really great at interacting with students, holding office hours, and just making the class very dynamic, and allowing me to really explore what I'm interested in. But yeah, that's probably been my favorite class. Kabir, what about you?
Yeah, I think building on what I already said, I've been taking a ton of anthropology classes lately. So I think the last favorite that I took was this class called Resistance, Rebellion, and Popular Movements. It was super fun. And it was just so interesting. And I've been kind of leaning towards like I take class all my favorite classes somehow are really disconnected from my major, which is weird to say, but it's interesting to know that. I also really liked Introduction to Native American Literature. It was a class that I took in my freshman year, and I really, really enjoyed it more than I really thought I would. And I think just from all these classes that I've taken, which kind of were my GEs, I developed so many like skills and like so much knowledge that I could apply to like arenas that were more like less class focused, but more like curricular and like real life focused. So I took a class called I took a class called PLS 21, which is Computers and Technology. And it was this rudimentary class that kind of taught us about the basics of computers and like Excel and a little bit of R and like sprinkles of everything. And I ended up interning for that class for 2 quarters after I took it and ended up becoming head intern for the class. It was like a super fun experience because it was the first time I was like leading a group of people, and it was all from like a class that I was initially not even planning on taking. And I feel like so many of these classes kind of teach you skills that you can apply in like a co-curricular or beyond the classroom experience. A ton of my classes I've taken have been like social justice themed or themed about like current global problems. And yeah, I'm also currently a senator for our campus. So again, just so much just leaning towards what I ended up wanting to actually do on campus. And yeah, I also took a ton of classes about global education. So I took this class called Cultural Anthropology, like throughout the world. It was called ANT 20, and it was about like the globe and how anthropology kind of developed in different parts of the world. And it was really interesting. And I actually was at that point discovering a minor within global studies, but that ended up making me take an opportunity at global affairs, which is a department on campus where I worked for 2 years as a part of a program. And there's like tons of goals and like tons of arenas that you can kind of get involved in. And you might not even have to like directly get involved. Sometimes when you're in a class, you just come across an opportunity that kind of bumps you further. And you can then kind of pursue that opportunity. And if you really like it, you can really just immerse yourself in it. And that's mostly how all my on-campus involvement has happened. I also did my research. Like I ended up like as a letters and science major. It's really odd for like in a humanities field to kind of find research that there's actual like merit to. And I actually ended up working in a research lab for a professor in communication, and that was really fun. But I know that there's a ton of like research that STEM entails, and there's a ton of like lab work for that. And if Metzli kind of wants to talk about her experience with lab work and as an applied physics major, and what experience like that kind of has brought for her, and yeah.
Yeah. So right now I work in a lab with the Tau 4 group in the physics department, and my lab is material science. I would also like to note that there are tons of research programs that UC Davis offers to support you. And not only that, the country offers a lot of support for research. So if you have time on your hands, look up UC Davis research programs, and also look up maybe like whatever field you're interested in, and just a general Google search, research programs. Right now, I'm a part of the MERPS program, and essentially it's a research program for physical sciences. And so I'm able to get mentorship as well as guidance into the research world. But right now for my research, I think something that's really cool about research is that you don't really need to have the major in the field to join a research group. For instance, I know a lot of individuals who either, let's just say, majors in physics, but they join a linguistics research group. It's very interdisciplinary. So if you have any lingering curiosities about another field, a lot of professors are more than happy to take on undergraduate students and, you know, either help guide them through a subject they're unfamiliar with, or further help them harness some sort of mastery and skills. And so for my research project, right now I'm working with electrosynthesis, so doing some kind of material science chemistry work. And as I mentioned before, it was with anything new, there's a learning curve. And so I think one of my biggest challenges was learning to be an independent thinker. For me, I'm the type of person who reads manuals, who reads the lab procedures and follows it to a T. And so to be given a research project, just like a general research project, and told, okay, we want you to work on this project, I felt super overwhelmed and I didn't know where to go. I went to the library and they have like the research consult, and I was able to have one of the librarians like hold my hand and be like, this is how you look things up in the catalog. So I will say, I guess in general, for any experience you have, there are people here to support you. So don't be intimidated, even though it's really easy to get intimidated sometimes, especially if you're doing something challenging. But yeah, and so I would say if you're a first year, start looking for research opportunities. It's never too early to look for a research opportunity, an internship, because those help you either get transferable skills that you can apply to either life or your field, but it also helps you determine whether or not you enjoy what you're doing. But on that note, Khalil, what beyond the classroom experiences does a poli-sci, or I guess a cognitive science student, get?
That is a really good question. So I've definitely had some research experience as well. That's something I want to stress, is research is not just for STEM. And again, I had no idea how to approach research. I wasn't even sure if it was something I wanted when I started. And so I went to the Undergraduate Research Center, which I believe the link was just put in the chat. And they have a lot of different programs to help you just see what research is like in your field. So I was part of a program where I just got to shadow a graduate student who is looking into the barriers that women face when getting involved in politics. And I just got to shadow her work and see what she was doing and learn kind of what research entails, which was really nice because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do research full time, but I still got to see what it was like and have that experience. But besides that, there's also a lot of great experiences that I've had outside of the classroom. On campus, I've definitely gotten involved a lot with student government. Like Kabir, I've also served as an ASUCD senator for our student government. Currently, I'm still pretty involved in student government and help run candidates for office. And outside of campus, I've also gotten involved with various different internships with different political scenes, worked on different campaigns. There's definitely a lot of opportunities and experience that you can get. And I definitely want to reference Angie when we're talking about outside experience, because I know she's graduating and she's had 4 years to kind of build up a lot of experience. So Angie, did you want to talk a little bit about your experience on campus?
Yeah, sure. And before I start, I also want to give Metzli an opportunity to talk a little about music too, because that's a really interesting topic.
Oh yeah, thanks, Angie. I guess on the topic of clubs and outside experiences as well, I've had the opportunity to be a part of a lot of music programs here on Davis. And you might be thinking, physics major, interest in material science and chemistry. Why are you taking music classes? Well, I mean, I like music. So I think a really cool thing that Davis does that's been touched on a couple of times during this seminar is that pretty much you can explore anything that interests you or anything that you're curious about with little to no experience necessary. For me, I have experience performing in an orchestra, but I spontaneously decided to join a percussion group. If you look through the music programs, there's a lot of classes either relating to music theory, composition, or performance. There's some really fun classes, like there's a musical improv class where you just perform and do random things and it works. I personally joined the Samba school, so drumming with a team of other individuals, either percussion majors who have years of experience, and then newbies like me just learning how to hold like a drumstick and not really knowing what they're doing. And so I would definitely look into the Samba school or even just type up UC Davis music, and there are a lot of classes you can take. And I'm sure that extends to other departments as well. So if you're curious, take classes. There's also sports clubs you can do that also require little to no experience. So take the time to explore the website and figure out what works for you. But thanks, Angie, and I'll hand the mic back to you.
Perfect. And I'm just like Metzli in that I also really enjoy music. And as you can see on this slide in particular, you can see some of my friends, Amar and Noel. They're part of KDVS, our campus local radio station. So if you like music, maybe not so much the playing of it, making it, but if you like sharing or curating music, we have abilities to DJ live, which is really cool. So in my 4 years, I was really involved with a bunch of student organizations. KDVS was one of them. I did the news there. I joined Hack Davis, which is a collegiate hackathon we host every single year. So if you're ever interested in making a project, you don't have any experience, that's fine. It's very beginner friendly. We have Hack Davis. We have just so many organizations you can be a part of. And there are just so many ways that you can get involved on campus. So you could also join some of us, the four of us, Khalil and I, Kabir and Metzli, were part of the ambassadors of the College of Letters and Science. So there's always something you can do. There's always somewhere you can feel that you belong. There's a community out there for you at UC Davis. I do want to talk a little bit about how some of my experience has helped me enhance my resume. Because I threw out there the whole like Microsoft thing, but I mean, I didn't come to UC Davis with all that experience. I had no idea what a program was. So I joined a lot of really great orgs. I think Hack Davis was the one that really opened me up to understanding, how do I get a job? What do I have to put on my resume for people to like me, for people to want me, for people to give me money? And so joining some of those organizations, being in a community of people who are like you, who want to pursue a career that you're interested in, can really help you push yourself into that mindset, into knowing what to put on your resume, where your internship opportunities are, and other ways that you can really enhance your portfolio and make yourself look like a really cool candidate for a job. So highly recommend, highly recommend joining some orgs. You'll learn more about internship opportunities, as well as some ways you can really develop a social life and finding those communities, because a large part of why we're here today is because we understand with COVID, it can be really difficult to make friends, to really develop the communities that we were able to when we were in person. And the biggest way to do so is joining clubs. Because you'll find a lot of people are in the same position as you. A lot of people are trying to find friends. And the best way to do that at UC Davis is joining those communities and finding clubs that interest you. I have no transition to the other category.
That's okay. I can pick up right after you, Angie, on social life. And I think that was one of the questions that I marked that we should answer live is making friends, finding community, because, you know, that's really important. And again, different clubs, different organizations on campus, that's the way to do it. And I can't stress enough getting involved with that early on. I think there's lots of questions about like advice to your freshman self. And that's one thing I would say is joining these various campus organizations that we have early on, because really they're here for you. They're looking for students like you. And it's the best way to find community, find people who are interested in the same things as you. And I know that I live in a house with 6 other roommates who are all in the same club as me. And I love it. It's a great experience. They have been my community that I've built here at Davis. And I'm really grateful, and I wouldn't have found them if I hadn't been looking for those clubs and looking for that community. So that's definitely something that I think is really important when you come to UC Davis. Kabir, do you want to talk about your experience with social life and clubs?
Yeah, I think mine is pretty unique because I am an international student, and it was like I knew nobody. I knew none of I didn't even see the campus before, like in person, before I came. So it was really interesting to kind of navigate the campus to find friends and find community. I think the most important and the most significant way I did that was kind of hanging at places where like community fostered. So for me, it was the International Center, a lot of like ruminating and sitting in the cross-cultural center and just figuring out places where there's like-minded people, and you'd be eating lunch and someone would come and have a conversation with you, and then you'd be eating lunch with them every Tuesday. And like I've had genuine experiences where like I've made friends in the most unlikely places on campus. And I think that's something that one can like really be grateful or like look forward to about UC Davis, because there's so many spaces that do foster this type of community. Even though you may not be searching for one, there are places that will perhaps offer it to you, even if you're not like actively looking. And that's also like how I joined Global Ambassadors. It was my first year. At the end of my first year, I joined Global Ambassadors, and I ended up working for them for 2 years up till last quarter. And it was just like, it was almost like I remember submitting the application like midnight before the deadline. I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this, but I hope I get in. And there's a lot of cool people applying, and it would be nice to hang out with them. And they're some of my closest friends on campus, all of my coworkers in that program. And yeah, I think it's so sudden and it's so immediate, the way you can kind of foster community on campus and the way you can kind of fall into clubs. The way I've kind of came across ASUCD is just like seeing a bunch of people like around campus, like wearing billboards, tabling, like they're like literally just through like eyes and experience. And that's how I joined one of the commissions, and slowly just kept working, and then realized I'm interested enough to kind of be a senator. And I noticed somebody in chat asked how to join ASUCD, and it's like there's no correct way. It's several positions, and you can kind of join any one wherever you do find interest. We're divided largely between units, commissions, student government, committees, and there's several areas of interest that you may want to have an inkling towards, and it's totally up to you. So I definitely encourage you to check out the ASUCD website, which I can drop in chat right after, to figure out where your interests lie. And that's kind of my experience with like finding people, community, and kind of clubs. And I can hand it off to Medsley, who will kind of continue talking about the same.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, it's kind of a game of telephone, to be honest, where you join a club, you meet amazing people. Maybe it's the right fit for you and you find your community, but maybe there's something a little missing. And then you hear somebody from your club mention that they're in another club, you join that club, and then you just kind of figure out where your interests lie, really. And that's kind of how I ended up joining a sports club here at Davis. Just as background information, in high school, even before high school, I had never done a sport. like before in my life. I think my only exposure to sports was like playing at recess in elementary school and also like PE. And so in college, one of my neighbors in the dorm, and because I had joined Model United Nations because I really love talking. And one of my friends was like, hey, like I wanted to try out the rowing team. Do you want to try out with me? And I was like, I've never done a sport before in my life. And she said, oh no, it's okay. They like said that you don't need any experience. And so there I was at like 6 in the morning on a boat, not knowing what I was doing. But I ended up being a part of the rowing team for a year. And so it really, I think if you look on UC Davis, you can either do club sports, intramural sports, or perhaps even be a part of like one of the official sports teams here on Davis. And if you ever have the opportunity to either explore the ARC or even sports clubs, I would highly recommend, even if you're an athlete or non-athlete, it's a new experience. Personally, for me, I discovered that I don't have an athletic bone in my body, but I really enjoyed the experience. And like I said, there's transferable skills for anything. Just conversations with my peers and my coaches, I learned about, that's how I learned about my research program. And one of my bigs in the rowing team told me like, hey, like you should apply for this research program. And that's kind of how I got into the MERPS program. So a lot of it is just exploring, meeting people, and trying to figure out, I guess, your place in Davis, or making your own niche place of your own. And so I guess also through that, I was also able to join a pre-health clinic at UC Davis. There's a lot of student-run clinics that you can join, as well as a lot of pre-vet and pre-law opportunities. I know one of my friends from the rowing team, she was pre-vet, and there's a raptor care facility as well as a volunteering opportunity to take care of baby horses. So if you're interested in any of those things, as mentioned, explore the UC Davis website. It has all the information there. And if not, they have all the information of the people you can talk to that will tell you all of this. And so highly recommend checking the links that Mark is posting in the chat as well as just exploring the website on your own. And so if anybody wants to add anything or talk about campus culture, feel free to take the mic.
I can do a transition because I don't think the rest of us are as involved with sports, but there are a lot of sport opportunities. Please feel free to ask questions about those in the chat, so some of our chat support can answer your questions, or look on some of the websites that are being linked in the chat. But in terms of campus culture, one thing I'd say is we have a pretty relaxing environment on campus. I've personally felt like it's a community of people at UC Davis. There's not a competitive your spot takes mine environment. It's fun. I think people are there to uplift each other. And I know this sounds cliche, but I truly do think it's the truth. So right here in this picture, you can see Picnic Day, which is one of the largest, I believe, student-run events in the nation. And it's an event where lots of students, alumni, and community members come to our campus because we have lots of different events that are going on. I believe that this photo right here is of an event called Battle of the Bands. And that's where our school band plays against other bands, and they try to compete to see who can play longest. And one of the stories that I was told is that there was one year where, you know, this competition was going on late into the night, and they obviously want to keep playing music. And so some of the orchestra leaders went to the library, printed out more music, handed it out to the students so that the students could keep playing. And it kept going till late in the night, till like 2 a.m. until like it was finally shut down. And so again, it really, there's a lot of opportunities for fun and just relaxing, but I wanted like popcorn to someone else to talk about like what their experience with campus culture has been.
I can take that. Yeah, I feel like for me, it's been super interesting because, again, I want to repeat, I was unaware of how any of campus would work. So when I came, it was so cool to see. First and foremost, I think I was just shocked in general about the size of campus. I was really expecting it to be tinier. But it was just so large, which basically meant literally and figuratively how much there could be, like how much you could do with on campus. I think it took me almost 2 years to kind of figure out all of the arboretum, which is basically pretty that being said, I don't visit it that much. Maybe if you do visit it more, you will take lesser time, but like it's campus is just so large that you do have like the option of kind of getting up every day and doing something absolutely unique you may have not done before on campus. um and when I moved off campus and in my second year, I was again, I was not a user of Unitrans before that, but I started using Unitrans to kind of go to campus, and I realized how convenient that was, and just how interconnected Davis in general is, not only in terms of UC Davis, but just the community and downtown Davis around is. Everyone is pretty welcoming. I think someone right at the beginning of the session, we showed you a video where someone was like, "Everyone at Davis is welcoming," and I would totally second that because uh, everyone just kind of is super sweet, and you would not really find someone who kind of brushes you away. So yeah, it's a really welcoming and happy vibe, and there's stuff to kind of, like I said, there's unique stuff to kind of take each day as like a different day. um and I just noticed like there's questions about commuting in chat. Again, Unitrans is completely free to us undergraduate students. So I always just use that to kind of go anywhere from wherever I'm living. I just figure out what line I'm taking. And there's, I think, a video of Metzley really well explaining Unitrans really well, which someone could possibly link in chat. But yeah, campus culture in general overall is pretty like comforting, and I would not really stress too much about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop in real quick because I saw a really great question describing the environment surrounding Davis, because we are 20 minutes away from Sacramento. I love going to Sacramento to go thrifting. So there's a lot of really fun stuff around Davis. Davis itself is a really big college town. There's a lot to do. But if you don't think that's enough for you, we have the Farmar and all that fun stuff. But if that's not enough for you, we are really close to Sacramento. We're also about an hour and a half from the Berkeley, the Bay Area. As an out-of-state student, I came to California because I wanted to really experience some beaches. And unfortunately, we aren't that close to some beaches, but Davis itself is a really nice, smaller college town that offers that really homey vibe. It's very safe. You can see everyone biking. There are a lot of families here. And overall, it's a very welcoming and safe environment. So if that's what you're looking for, I highly recommend Davis. And we're not that far away from bigger cities if you want to explore the California area a bit more. So that's the surrounding area.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add on to that. Just I really want to emphasize that this is a college town, which means that the whole community and the people who live in Davis who are not students, they know that their students are there. They know, like, you're getting used to living on your own for the first time. And it makes the transition into college a little bit easier from my perspective. Um, and one thing I also want to touch on is that one of the questions that we got, which is like, what's commuting like, or what's, living off campus like? I actually lived off campus for my first year. And what I found is that as long as I, went to campus, I was still able to stay connected. And where as you can see, and I'm sure you've heard, a very big bike town. So biking is something you're going to likely end up doing, and it's a really great method of transportation. I know I have never seen stoplights specifically for bikes before, and so that was something really trippy that I got to see for the first time. But it's really a great way of transportation, in addition to the Unitrans buses and even just walking places, because again, Davis is a smaller town. And so if you're coming to Davis because you think you're coming to a big city, maybe, you're not going to get that, but you are able to go to cities like Sacramento, or even a longer drive to Bay Area if you want to experience the city life, but live in a smaller college town. But I think we've kind of talked a little bit about life in Davis. Again, feel free to ask more additional questions in the chat. But I think we can kind of talk a little bit about advising, which is another really important part of UC Davis. Angie, did you want to talk a little bit about advising?
Sure. So UC Davis offers a plethora of advising. You have peer advisors, you have major advisors, and you have the college advisors. You were not cutting out, you're great. Let me see. So peer advisors are there. They're actual students who have been through what you've done before. So they're there to offer their insights. Your major advisors are there to make sure that you're on track with your major requirements. And of course, the college advisors are there. So if you're here, you're probably going into the College of Letters and Science. And we have the College of Letters and Science advisors who are there for you. They're here to check if you're on track to graduating. And they're also there not just to check on you academically, but also to check on how you're doing as a student, how well you're adjusting to college for the first time. So when I was a freshman, I went into the advising appointment, and my advisor was really sweet. She checked in on how I was adjusting as an out-of-state student, if I was making friends, if I was lonely. And if I said yes, I'm not saying I did, but if I said yes, she would offer me a bunch of resources. Like, here are clubs that you could join. Here are things that I would have done if I were still a freshman to make new friends. And so they're there to check on you both academically and not so academically. Our advisors are here to support you if you are really struggling with either of those fields. So definitely take advantage of them. And if not, don't worry. You have to do advising anyway because it's required. I think someone else can probably touch on this a little bit better than I can, but you will be required to do it anyway.
I can piggyback off of that. I cannot stress how important advising is. Like, I think it's kind of unhealthy as to how many times I check in with my advisors. It gives me like a sense of direction as to whatever I'm doing when it comes to both my majors, if I'm like taking the right decisions in terms of classes, and they're always so more than happy to answer my questions. And I think my major advising has really like drafted. They also are like really honest if you do make a rapport with them, in the sense of like, if they figure out what your learning style is, specifically with me in communication, my advisor often recommends that I don't take certain classes that may not suit my learning style and take alternatives which makes me essentially do better in school. So I cannot stress how important advising is. And my recommendation would be that you should definitely check in with your advisor at least quarterly, and if not quarterly, at the very, very least yearly, because I think it's super duper important. Kind of going off of that, you also have a letters and science advisor who kind of just advises you on, like Angie said, like life in general and your degree, your progress. And I absolutely love my letters and science advisor. It's actually she was actually one of the biggest reasons that I applied to even be an ambassador for the College of Letters and Sciences, because my experience in dealing with her name's Holly, has like literally made me so warm and happy towards this entire idea of the College of Letters and Science. And I cannot stress enough how nice, how nice she is. And today in the morning, she actually just sent me a quarterly check-in email. I always try to scheduled my appointment with her within the first week, and it just kind of is it's almost like doing like a mental health and mental wellness check, and I totally completely recommend that fully. And yeah, I think just go to your advisor. That would be my biggest uh like tip, that we have so many advisors. Every major has their own advisor. You have a college advisor, and I would suggest that you meet all of them. And there's peer advising. There's tons of there's ICC advising. Just find them all. Go to them. It's completely fully beneficial. Angie, do you want to kind of talk about the ICC further?
Yeah, sure. And another great question we're seeing is how to make appointments for advising. So before I touch on the ICC, it's really easy. We have this website called Oasis. This is where you go and check out, your progress. You can make a bunch of forms on, your 4-year plans, what classes you want to take. But there's also the option to set up an appointment with either the college, your major, whatever you'd prefer. So once you're admitted, once you decide to check that SIR, you will have access to Oasis, and this is where you can make appointments. So we're really emphasizing why you should, but how you should is through Oasis. I'm going to move into, and some major offices do have drop-in advising with peers. So once things are in person or even online, if you just want to do a really quick appointment, you didn't have time to set up the appointment, you can just drop in and someone will be there to help as well. All right, let's talk about careers and getting jobs and money. So I understand that coming to college, you probably already have like a career in mind, or maybe you're thinking about a career, or maybe you're just not sure where you want to go, but you're sure that your college has to direct you somewhere. So we have the ICC, the Internship and Career Fair. This is a wonderful org on campus that allows you to really explore more about what you're interested in. And they also offer a bunch of workshops and opportunities for you to really delve into your professional career. So I'm seeing some questions about, how do I get research opportunities? How do I get internships? Well, we host a career fair, an internship and career fair every quarter. So fall, winter, and spring, you'll have the opportunity of meeting lots of companies, industries, and even research centers, labs, and they'll send representatives there. You can really talk to them, learn more about what they're looking for. And even if you're not a 3rd or 4th year about to go into internship and job life, as a 1st and 2nd year, it's a really great opportunity for you to learn more about what it takes to get those jobs, or what they're looking for and what you want in a job as well. So it's never too early to start exploring your professional life. So highly recommend checking in on the ICC. Outside of the fair, they also host a ton of cool workshops on how to really amp up your resume, how to write a great cover letter, how to do interviews and stuff like that. So really, really, really take advantage of that opportunity. Does anyone want to talk a little bit about mental health? Because I could use that right now.
I can talk about mental health, as well as I saw a question on campus safety too. I can talk about that. So as well as, I guess, the plethora of other things that UC Davis offers, they offer mental health and counseling services, as well as health services. I'm sure many of you know we have our own medical school, and so we have a lot of stuff on campus, basically. I personally have used these services. You can, in regards to mental health specifically, there's group sessions, so you can tackle a specific issue or receive assistance with other individuals who are experiencing the same things as you. Personally, I went for anxiety because, not gonna lie, physics is really hard, and I was very stressed out by, the material. And so they were very helpful. There's also individual sessions you can go to, as well as they can help set up appointments with an outside private therapist. There's a lot of individuals who are experts in their field. And so if they think that you need further assistance, or if you're unsure how to navigate through something, they are more than willing to help you. I guess in regards to, for instance, a major advisor helps you navigate through your major. The doctors at the Student Health and Wellness Center, they're there to help you make sure you're a healthy UC Davis student and you're happy. And so if you ever have any problems, be it, I guess, you don't really know what major to do, or you don't really know, for me, I fell off my bike first year and I had to go get I guess a cast on my foot for a brief period of time. But Davis is here to support you. And so for those of you who are going far from home and are really anxious about that idea, don't worry. And I guess on the terms of being worried too, small tangent talking about campus safety, I would say Davis is really safe. I've had experiences of camping out at Shields until like 2 a.m. And me and my friends feel safe walking through Davis and through downtown Davis. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable with doing that, UC Davis offers the riding service that I'm blanking out on the name. If anybody can pop in.
Safe Ride.
Yeah, Safe Ride. Safe Ride is a saving grace. It's this free riding service that UC Davis offers. They pick you up from a Davis location and they can drive you off campus anywhere in Davis, as well as, I guess, from Shields Library to whatever dorm if you do decide to dorm. So yeah, so if anybody else wants to take the mic on health and counseling or otherwise.
Just a little bit of like an insight on campus safety. This is more of a story time. My roommate actually dislocated his knee at 3 a.m. at night, and it was, and first I think we were in denial as to like as if it was an actual dislocation or just a little hurt, and then I figured out a non-emergency number, and the fire department and the police came and they took him and they really took care of him, and he is currently really doing well, and I would say if he would not be doing well if they were not that quick to respond and come there. So in terms of campus safety and just kind of being there for their students irrespective of whatever time, and I believe this was also might have been in spring break last year, so right before COVID maybe. Yeah, so I would totally not worry a lot about campus safety because there's tons of ways and tons of people who are looking out for us. And campus also has its own security, which are basically student security guards. And they kind of make you feel comfortable because there's not much of like a power dynamic there. It's students kind of looking out for students. So yeah, just campus safety is pretty, I would say, stellar at UC Davis. And Angie, I noticed you unmuted before.
Yeah, no worries. I also wanted to add on to the mental health conversation earlier. Mark made a really great point that each college dean's office, advising office, they have a mental health counselor in there as well. And academic advisors can refer to you on the spot. So if you tell your advisor that you're struggling, they can immediately send you over there. So there are a lot of resources there. And to piggyback off of the whole safety conversation, I can reiterate what they said as well. I've really liked Unitrans using the campus buses to get to and from campus, and I find that it's the safest way for me to get home. But if you do find yourself on campus really late at night, the Safe Ride option's really great. They're available, I think, Mondays through Fridays, like all night long, and then weekends are also kind of a fuzzy area, but we can definitely put a link in the chat, more information on the Safe Ride situation. So really great, safe environment at Davis.
I'm hoping that this topic is not as relevant by the time fall quarter comes around, but in this picture, you do see our student COVID testing site, which the COVID response by UC Davis has been genuinely the most impressive thing I've seen from UC Davis. It's the amount of testing they do, how quickly you get your results back. It's a spit test. You get it back like sometimes within like 24 hours. I work on campus, and so obviously this is something that I have been, concerned about. But I get to get tested twice a week. Um, it's free to me, very simple. I'm in and out within like 30 seconds. And it's really been recognized. I mean, you'll see articles about our testing center because of how extensive and impressive it is. And even like their vaccination rollout thus far has been really impressive. Like I've had my second dose like 2 weeks ago that I got. And I really do think that they're doing a very good job when it comes to COVID-19 safety. And again, I'm hoping that this is not as relevant of a topic in fall quarter, but I know that that is a big concern for students because of, the past year. And so I did want to touch on that a little bit. But I don't know if anyone else here on our panel had anything else to add about health and counseling. But if not, I think we can actually pop back over to Mark to do some live Q&A.
Yes. I don't want to follow the four of you. I really don't. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I put a slide up here because a couple of you have asked some specific questions about majors, which we didn't really touch on because we have 55 majors in this college, so it'd be really hard to talk specifically about every single one. Oh, I didn't even list it on here. There's a resource and majors fair on Saturday, so hopefully you're seeing that on your registration page for Aggie Experience Live. So that's happening on Saturday. So if you have specific questions about your majors, maybe some opportunities, extracurricular or research opportunities in those majors, hands-on experience, that kind of thing, definitely pop into the majors fair on Saturday. But we're also doing a more formal, if you will, info session and panel on the 13th of April. So I'll be hosting that with our Associate Dean, as well as Mark Reyes, who's actually in the room. He's our first year advising director. So he'll be there as well as some students to field your questions. And then we're doing a couple more student panels later on in the month. So definitely check those out if you have unanswered questions or if you just want to learn more. We'll be here for the rest of the month. But for now, let's go ahead and try and get through some of these questions. Lots and lots and lots of questions. So thank you for your participation. Feel free to keep dropping your questions in. We will try and answer them. If not, maybe we can get them during some of these sessions that we're going to do later in the month. But to start, I'm going to ask the four of you, Angie, Khalil, Kabir, Metzli, to maybe in 5 to 10 words, 10 words or less, why did you choose UC Davis over maybe your second choice school? Let's do popcorn style. Angie, you're at the top of my screen. You get to go first and then popcorn it off.
I like to grow, and Davis helped me grow a lot. Let's pretend a lot is one word. Khalil.
I'm gonna do the same thing. Okay, small college town, great location, good academic and professional opportunities. And I'll popcorn it off to Kabir.
Wow, this is stressful because I was not planning to keep 10 words. Okay. The town, the weather, the location, and just the overall vibe, if that makes sense.
The finesse. For me, baby animals, springtime, picnic day. Yeah, those are my reasons. Also nice people.
Awesome.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, for sure. Nice people, absolutely. All right, so then now I don't know how to get rid of it. Get rid of the answer. Oh, Angie has to get rid of it. All right, so for those of you, it should be at the top, Angie. There you go. Okay, for those of you who are double majors, we got lots of thumbs up for this question. So quickly, like is it challenging taking on 2 majors? Can you do it? Certainly it depends on the 2 majors you're combining, when you decide to add a second major. How difficult is it in terms of maybe workload and finishing all the other things you want to do, like internship research and all those things that make you probably more career ready than actually having a second major? Khalil, do you want to start? Did we lose Khalil?
Sorry, yes.
Oh,
I'm having a
okay.
little internet
It's really
connection.
windy in Davis today. I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I would say, like you said, Mark, it really depends on your specific majors that you are majoring in and when you decide to start your double major. So I did decide to start my second degree of cognitive science a little bit later, which does require me to increase the course load that I take per quarter a little bit. But I think if you start and you know right now that you are planning to double major, talk to a college advisor and have them help you plan out the next few years at college, because they're really great. They have this little template that they can start to organize what classes you need to take each quarter in order to graduate on time. And I think if you do that, it'll be pretty easy for you, and you shouldn't have any problems handling the course load. It's all about dividing it evenly. That's not to say that you can't pick up a double major later on, but just make sure that you speak with a college advisor. I mean, that's my best advice. And organize your time. Use Google Calendar. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned while taking a double major is time management, because you have to learn, what to prioritize, when to complete deadlines, and handle the school extracurricular work-life balance.
I can kind of piggyback and just add like a few words. I think Khalil covered most of it though. I think my advice would be, if the trajectory of your primary major is something that you are definitely seeing progress faster than you would normally see it, and also your advisor is also kind of in the same headspace as to like you have enough space available for you to kind of take either several minors or perhaps even another major, that's when you should kind of consider it. I would definitely also not say that don't limit yourself and not consider it at all. But if you are wanting to graduate in a time crunch, I definitely would say consult your advisors, and you can even make like a plan, an Oasis yourself, and then get it, like, which is our advising tool online. And then your advisors can see it. And if it's doable, they will approve your major, and hopefully and at the end of the day, it's not really hard to handle if you've kind of figured out how. Personally, for me, my double major is planned in a way that for the rest of my 4th year, which I'm going to be going into, I don't have to take more than 12 units till I graduate, which is a really easy, relatively slow workload. That's because I already did like all the hustling in these past years. So it totally depends on how you craft it and how your advisors also give you feedback constantly.
So on the topic of majors, changing majors. Who's changed a major? I think Khalil, you have, right? And you sort of did, right? You went from CSE to CS. Do you just want to talk about that process, like what it looks like, Angie?
Yeah, sure. So I originally started in the College of Engineering at UC Davis. I was computer science and engineering, and I quickly realized I didn't really like physics, and I was required. So I was gonna switch into just computer science so I could focus more on programming. And luckily for me, I had done most of the prereqs to CS from CSE, but for some of you who are considering changing majors, you might actually not have as many classes that are required to change majors. So really, to change majors, you have a couple of prereqs, some basic classes for the major you're about to switch into that you should take before declaring that you're going to change into that major. And anyone can feel free to chime in if there are other details, but usually you're required to take at least one quarter at UC Davis. You need to have a GPA at UC Davis. And there are some other prereqs that are dependent on which major you want to switch into. So definitely check out the UC Davis department page for whatever major you're considering changing into, and they'll have a bunch of other information about what you need. But it's usually fairly straightforward. It's a couple of prereq classes to show that you're on track to doing that major, and a quarter at UC Davis, so you can really figure yourself out.
Yeah, I think Angie pretty much covered it, so I don't know if I have too much more to add.
Don't mute yourself yet, Khalil. What one piece of advice would you give your freshman self? If you were in your senior year of high school right now on March 30th, whatever that date would have been, what advice would you give yourself?
Get involved and realize that people on campus want you to get involved, because you're only in college for 4 years or 2 years if you're a transfer student, and so things will move by really quickly, and you don't want to have to look back at missed opportunities. And again, because college moves so fast, they're always looking for new people to join sports, organizations, clubs, activities. And you'll be surprised at how easy it is to get involved once you take that first step.
Metzley, how about you? What advice would you give yourself?
I would say, don't worry. I think for me, I was very fixated on this image of an ideal student, getting straight A's, participating in many things, and graduating in 4 years. And I guess in terms of don't worry, for me, I've come to this realization of, I have this end goal, and it's to graduate with a degree. And no matter how long it takes, I'm going to go towards that goal. And there's people around me to support me. And yes, the coursework might be difficult, and yes, there might be a few bumps in the road, but I'll get there when I get there. And so I guess changing the idea of I don't have to be an ideal student, or the ideal student that I hear about all the time. I can just be me. And so, yeah.
Anybody else?
I can say it. I can go ahead and say something. Mine is kind of similar to what Khalil and Metzley say, but mine is also somehow the converse of that. I feel like one should just go with the flow. If once you're here, you'll kind of know what you need to do, where you'll have a good idea as to where your trajectory is taking you and where you need to go, and just take it all in while you're doing that. Don't kind of as much as it is important to kind of get involved, don't force yourself into things that you may not see as useful, or stuff that you may not relate to in the moment. It's always better to kind of stumble into something than put yourself inject yourself and realize, oh, this is not what I wanted. So yeah, that would be go with the flow and just take it all in while it happens. And I know that's
Go with
very
the flow.
cliche,
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
but yeah.
Angie, how about you?
I would tell myself to please make more mistakes, because one of the best ways to learn in college is to make mistakes, is to try something new, try something that you've always wanted to do, but you've always been scared of doing, because what better time to make those mistakes and learn from them than now? So if you're a senior in high school right now, I highly recommend doing everything you've always wanted to do in college and learn from any mistakes that come from them, any failures, and hopefully, it makes you a better person, because now is your best chance to learn. Because once you become a grown-up, it becomes harder and it's scarier. But now's a really great time for you to really explore what interests you, what your passions are, and what things you want to explore further down the line. So please make mistakes. Don't be afraid of them, because now's the best time to do it.
And I know it's been a long time since I was a freshman in college. But I would just add, be okay with changing. Be okay with becoming a different person. I mean, because that's what college is about. It's uncovering who you are, discovering who you are, learning new things, new opportunities. So be okay, and maybe a little uncomfortable, but be okay with becoming a new and better person. Okay, let's see. So I know there was a question about minors. What majors and minors are, oh gosh, it jumped away from me. Metzling, you had marked it as wanting to answer it. Do you want to talk a little bit about like minors and what like what minors are and what they mean to like your academic curriculum, and maybe like why someone would choose a minor over a second major?
Yeah, so I decided to minor in something. I mean, I'm still in the process of officializing. I have a meeting with the advisor tomorrow. But I guess as for why somebody would choose a minor over a major, well, I guess one reason would be, I guess, the rigor. Do you want to have a packed schedule, and are you planning on graduating in 4 years? A lot of students who double major, or I guess in regard to my major, physics, which requires a lot of classes and units, a lot of students who double major in physics decide to take a 5th year. A lot of other students who are very studious and enjoy, I guess, that type of lifestyle still want to graduate in 4 years, but instead take like a heavy class workload every quarter. And for me, I still want to graduate in 4 years, and I'm really interested in exploring my interests, but not randomly, but with direction. But I also did not want a heavy workload, so I decided in the end to minor. As for how minoring goes, essentially most minors, I think, or if not all, are 20 units. So essentially you take classes in whatever field you're interested in, and you meet with the major advisor and discuss if it's possible to declare a minor. And I would think that applying for a minor is a little easier than a major. Of course, in the planning area of like, you need to figure out your schedule and stuff. But really, you can minor in anything that interests you. For me, I was contemplating so many different minors. I was contemplating cultural anthropology, science and technology studies. And right now I'm meeting with an advisor for potentially a Chinese minor, because I had signed up for a Chinese class last year and I was taking Chinese and I really loved it. And so I'm like, hey, maybe I can minor in this. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you're interested in something, take a class. And if you really want, I guess, to get serious about it, maybe consider a minor or major. But of course, don't be pressured to take on another major or take on another minor just because you think it looks cool. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Angie, you're doing the tech management minor, right? You want to talk a little bit about that, like what it looks like and why you chose it?
Yeah, sure. In my second year, when I switched from CSE to CS, I was like, I have a little bit of extra time now. I don't have to take physics. So I was considering a few minors, and I ended up choosing the technology management minor because it's a really great application of not just computer science skills, but your communication skills. Because a lot of you who might be in STEM majors, you're going to have to learn how to apply those skills in team dynamics. So getting that hands-on experience working in teams is really great, because chances are when you go to grad school or when you go to a job, you're going to be working with a lot of different kinds of people. So the tech management minor is a really great opportunity for you to learn more about how to engage with different kinds of people, of different communication styles. And all the while you're learning really great things about the industry, about how to manage teams and how to be on those teams. So not just that minor, but a bunch of other minors are really great for learning how to apply the skills that you might learn through your major. Or like Metzli said, if you have something, an area that you just really are interested in that you want to learn more about, a minor is a really great way to branch out and become a very cool, well-rounded individual. So definitely explore those.
Okay, you guys are amazing. We are out of time. Really quickly, I just want to add, because there was a question about changing majors, declaring majors. If you're coming into a major that you maybe aren't sure about, that's okay. You don't have to take classes in that major. You can change, but you can't change till after fall quarter. So you have to complete one quarter before you can change. I'm not sure if we said that yet. But before you all leave, and I know you all have to go to your next session, will you please take a second and just say thank you to these amazing students who hosted you today in the chat, because they're awesome. They deserve the love. This is how we've been interacting all year. It's really sad. I got my second vaccine today. I can't wait to, hug them again. I miss everybody. And join us next week. Did I put the, I'm gonna do this again. So I threw in a link tree. So a lot of links that we use, including our events page. So hopefully we'll see you again. Thank you for joining us. Angie, Khalil, Kabir, Metzli, thank you. Thank you to all the people here behind the scenes, Lucas, Mark, Melanie, everybody, thank you. Enjoy the rest of Ag Experience Live. Hope to see you in the fall.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And thank you to Mark as well for hosting us and giving this opportunity to us. Mark did a great job.
You guys are great. You guys are great. Couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I know. I know. I know. All right. Thanks. Thanks, friends. We'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys are the best.
Bye-bye. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.